We're here already.
Are we?
We're supposed to be.
We're in a box.
Why do you put me in a box?
Oh, nobody puts me.
Like it's about this wide.
I know.
It's about this tall.
You do the up, I'll do the side to side. Up, yeah, it's right there. Hey, I have a question that somebody asked, and it was more specific to you. And I thought, you know what? We need to say this differently. So I have a question. How do you forgive yourself for not forgiving yourself sooner? Oh, don't worry about it. That has nothing to do with connection. Hi. That's a loaded question.
That was a loaded
Anybody want to try to take your watch? You probably chime in and say, okay, yeah, I think I have an answer for that. Go ahead. Let's see what kind of answers you probably have for that. But we're here because we wanted to say hello and let you people know we're not that far away.
And we are still working on our next video for March into Union.
Oh, March into Union.
That's
How's
fun.
it going so far? Oh, yes. You like that?
Oh, boy.
The two wolves. Which one are you? Which one do you feed? Just kidding.
That
was good.
That was good. So I'm interested in that question, actually. It's piqued my interest. Man, forgiveness is tough.
But
especially forgiveness over forgiveness.
forgiving yourself for not forgiving yourself sooner. I mean, you'll make mistakes along the way, but how often do you really capture that maybe when you make those mistakes, you didn't forgive yourself for making it? So
right.
You go on, and then all of a sudden it's like an accumulation of things you don't forgive yourself for. I like how it was beautiful the way you handled it. Of course, you know, that probably brought you to why you said we needed to do this mini root camp.
We are offering a mini root camp, by the way. If you haven't heard of our root camp program, we just got raving reviews over it. It's just awesome. It's life-changing. It will change your life. It will change the things that's happening with your twin. And what you're going on. It will eliminate a lot of the confusion. And we are doing a mini root camp.
I need to stop doing that because I know that it makes your head go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It does.
I caught myself. I caught myself. See, I'm changing.
But it's the end of the day, and I'm self-judging. So anyway,
give me the whole changing.
Let's get up.
That's
okay.
You caught
so anyway, here's the thing. We are doing mini root camps. We're only going to take 3 or 4 because we're going to do a mini root camp that's 3 sessions for $500, and we're going to rock your world.
People ask about root camp being a group thing. It's not.
It's not
a
group.
one-on-one thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's specifically catered to you and what you're going through in your journey and what you've been through in your journey. Mm-hmm. It's not like a whole group of people sitting around a campfire, you know, talking about the roots of trees. We get into the roots of your life to understand why you make the choices and decisions you make and show you how some of those things can make you connected to yourself or disconnected to yourself to show up that way in your connection. Just a brief overview.
I said hi. Hi, you guys. Hi. I feel like there's a sneeze just about to come out, but it's not there yet.
She's the fire, I'm the water. Thanks.
How is that?
It's just fire and water. That's all I heard.
We'll take a couple questions if you have some. If you don't, we'll just talk your ears off about. Let's talk about.
I have a question related. I'm being triggered again because my twin still hasn't contacted and because he never apologized for his shit behavior. I just can't let that annoyance, anger, bitterness go. Man,
let me address this real quick. I really just want to address this real quick. When you are in either a relationship, union, partnership, whatever it is, apparently Mike has something to say. You hearing?
Yes.
Anything. And there's some type of conflict or there's some things that go on. And one person will own up to their responsibility in their part, but the other one has a hard time owning up to their responsibility in it. My viewpoint is it takes two to tango. It takes two to make a conflict. It takes two and two voices to make a conflict. I mean, I can have inner conflict with myself all the time. I do that all the time. But to have a verbal conflict, you have to be, unless you're looking in the mirror, sometimes I do that too, verbal conflict with someone else. It sucks. It sucks to take the responsibility and ownership for things that happen and try to make changes and do that by yourself. I think that probably hurts worse than when there's conflict. If both of you just said, I'm taking ownership and I'm taking responsibility for this, if both of them do. But if one takes it upon themselves to not feel responsible or obligated to take responsibility for their part in it, it adds more hurt and more fuel to that fire and to that conflict. And she's right. It makes you more bitter and annoyed and angry. There's only a few things you can do, is, hey, I need you to hear me. And all you need to hear is I take responsibility and I'm sorry I've done that. That's all it takes for me is I'm sorry. I didn't realize I didn't do it on purpose. Wait a
minute. I know what you just mocked me. I don't say it like that.
I didn't mock you, but I can.
I take over. It's like, wait, time. I mean, the way you said it was, I take responsibility. I'm sorry. I didn't realize how that there was a way that this just showed up to me that just showed me that sometimes when I'm apologizing that I may come and say something like that and it may hurt you because of how I'm saying it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
So like if you kind of like what you just said, you take ownership and you say you're sorry, but then all of a sudden you start saying it's the energy that comes after it because you feel like you weren't trying to do anything wrong, but now you're guilty of doing something wrong. And it leaves this guilt that makes you come out. Oh, I'm sorry. I've never realized. It's really strange.
Talking to them.
Yeah, but
you just have an aha moment?
Oh, like you wouldn't imagine. It was almost like I saw the creation of Earth when you smack fire and water together.
Oh, that's interesting. But let's answer the question.
Okay.
Wow,
that was wow.
It causes the trigger, right? It causes another trigger.
I love you, damn it. God,
it
you
just
make things
does.
so real. Well, no, you just make things so real. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But she said she's being triggered again, and it makes perfect sense. And I just can't let go of the annoyance, anger, and bitter. And there can be times, honestly, where we have conflict, and the conflict is resolved or supposedly resolved, and they're still, and what that does is create more bitterness, anger, and hurt, and annoyance, because you get resolved, but the other person doesn't. Right. They're just tired of the conflict. They just don't want to have conflict anymore. They don't want to fight anymore. So it's like, okay, I'll do better. You do better.
So choosing to say, the conflict's over is also choosing to make the other person feel abandoned. Mm-hmm. Wow.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I can hold on to, if things don't get resolved, if things don't get resolved in the conflict that we have, and you think it might be resolved, and I'm still not able to voice things because, one, you're triggered and I don't want to trigger you anymore, or two, there's just the conflict's out of hand and it's just time to stop. And then the I'm sorry's and the holding of the hands and the kissing and the you know what I mean, the making up is great, but I can wake up and still have annoyance and anger and bitterness. And I'll carry that. I'll carry it until it's resolved.
That explains a whole lot of things that have happened. And even with, those that family members and friends and that kind of thing, how we might let something go, but we don't see how it's going to reback when it gets ignited again, especially if you feel shut down. That really does affect.
It'll come back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
with a vengeance.
And
It'll come back.
You'll take it out 400 times worse on the
Mhm.
person you love the
Yeah.
most.
So, at first you were fighting with you're, in conflict with a female dog, and then all of a sudden she comes back with puppies.
And they're all just like her.
Or an army.
Mm-hmm. And they're all just like her.
And it can get ugly.
Mm.
The key to that is make sure that you're being heard and that you're able to release everything and lay it out on the table. If it takes an hour or two, lay out how you're feeling and say, don't react, just listen. And it may not be the way you perceive it. It may not be the way you feel. This is how I'm feeling. And this is how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Genuinely feel.
Right.
Not I'm trying to be a bitch and say you're a dick. Genuinely, I feel these things. Now, the reaction can be, watch the reaction, because if there's a big defensiveness comes out when you're caught, when you're confronted, and when you're called out on the thing. So then you get defensive, like, nope, not me. That's all you. Yeah.
But can I ask a question? Because I think that's the part where we're talking about the forgiveness in the beginning. When, let's say, I say, okay, conflict's over, let's just let this go. Mm-hmm. And I go this way, you now are going to go through the whole boiling period of not saying, no, it's not over.
Right.
And now you got to contain that, which is that forgiveness. And how do you forgive yourself when you didn't put forgiveness in there in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
That really makes it harder to learn forgiveness, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it makes it really hard for you to see where you haven't forgiven yourself. And now that you know how to abandon yourself, you keep doing so repeatedly, thinking it's the other person, when really it's just you doing that to you.
She said, I agree. And I helped make the conflict, but I'm the only one who tried to fix it. Mm. That needs to be communicated.
Yes.
That needs to be communicated.
And I would, the big, because I remember what it feels like on the other end of not saying or apologizing for something. The apology may feel like I've apologized, but what you're waiting for an apology for, they don't know. They don't know what else to say. So sometimes that silence could be that you haven't really explained what your part was in it to say that's what I'm sorry for, because they're just sitting there saying, I said I'm sorry. And they want to be sorry about the whole thing, but that's not what you're expecting them to be sorry for. And they need to be narrowed down as to what you want an apology for. Because sometimes we're not really quite sure. And most of the time that you want them to apologize for not listening, for not listening to what was actually occurring, not listening to what actually was taking place, and not listening for how they feel. And that's what you want an apology for. And it's really hard to give something you're not getting.
Yeah. The interesting thing is, it really is all about communication.
It is.
It really is. And focus on you. I'm continuing on my path to enlightenment. How do I know my twin is actually benefiting from my growth? Is it simply trusting that I'm growing and learning they are too? I would say, yeah, in a way, but in the other way, they are going to feel it. They're going to feel it and wonder what the hell's up. But on the other hand, a lot of times it's opposite. If I'm going through a download or some type of ascension or some type of growth, you seem to be stifled.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yep. And same with me. If you're going through some type of growth, I seem to be like the stand stiller.
Yes.
Like, I'm just standing here. So yeah, but know that it does combine and they do feel it.
We've been working on communication and me being able to speak what is actually in my head rather than me taking the words in my head and jumping them around to say something more profound or peaceful or whatever I try to call it, alien. And what I started to experience was I was rejecting what my thought patterns were. And when I was rejecting what my thought patterns were, I didn't realize that it was impartial rejecting her thought processes too. So then it would cause this kind of a conflict that we weren't really aware of. the growth that had to come from this was that I was actually locked in this room, surrounded by my thoughts, and she kept knocking on the door, and I couldn't hear the door being knocked on. So, in one aspect, you're right. What you're expecting is you think, is this really going to impact them? But you can't impact them until you quiet your mind enough to hear if somebody's knocking at the door.
Mm. Oh, moving on. And she followed up, or he followed up. I think it's a she. With I just need resolution, and all honesty, that's just it. I just need closure, resolution, closure to this. It just is. You got to get it all out. You can't leave with anything left in. You got to just puke it out.
Well, not that we needed the
Just
visual.
vomit it. Just vomit. Yeah. All right.
Wait a minute. I'm in Hawaii and it's 2:22. I'm meant to watch this.
We don't want
Well,
to
first of all, maloha. But second of all, we don't need to know that you're all like in this tropical island and we're here being surrounded by snow and warm weather than snow, than cold weather than
Let's
snow.
just go to Hawaii.
Yes.
We're coming to you.
Yeah.
We're staying with
Send
you.
Tickets. Send tickets. We'll be
We're
more than
staying
happy to
with
get
you.
on that flight.
Were you given a mission on your own to complete before you could be with your twin, or twin would be with you? Yes. Oh!
There are two parts to everything on earth.
Whoa, did we?
Oh. You want to? You go ahead.
Look,
Yeah.
we were bad people. Look,
I would tell you my biggest.
We were.
You know what my biggest part of the mission? One of the biggest things that was like that big open door, and I looked in and I saw the sign and went, "Oh." And the beginning of that mission was nobody has been able to love you because you don't tell the truth. And I was like, I don't want to go through that door because I don't know who I am on the other side of it.
It was such a long, lifelong journey of self-discovery and trying to figure it out.
And then it was the mystical part of it, the spiritual part of it, the dream state of it was, is this really happening to me? Is this real? And why am I selected? And then once you ask the why is this connection finding me, there's the beginning of the connection and the beginning of your own individual part
Journey.
of this.
Yeah.
But then you start to find that when you go into that why you're with the one you're with, you don't take them along for the ride. You end up trying to dissect or disconnect yourself from them because you're telling yourself all kinds of shit that just sounds get louder. You know,
And
I don't know how to explain it.
When the comment says our missions are lifelong, they are. We're still on separate mission and together mission all the time. I have a mission. Let me tell you, I know that I have a couple. I'm real passionate about our nonprofit, Reinventing Innocence, where we work with a lot of sexual abuse victims and survivors. I am a sexual abuse survivor, and
you can learn a lot about that by going to relationshipreinvented.com and reinventing innocence.
How we do that little marketing there.
Well, no, the Facebook,
Yeah.
the big huge Facebook with what we're doing with the special for the Reinventing Innocence.
Oh yeah, that's a Facebook page.
It's a link in Relationship Reinvented, the group.
Oh yeah.
Which
And
we're
speaking of Twin Flame Work Group by Relationship Reinvented on Facebook, Twin Flame Work Group by Relationship Reinvented on Facebook. We'll be there live in about 10 minutes.
Yes. So for those of you
who are in our group, and
specific.
if you're not in our group, go there, join. If you're on Facebook, we're interacting in there as much as we can. But we'll be there in a few minutes when we finish up here. We're going to pop in there for about 15 minutes, and we're going to answer your individual questions. And it's a smaller group, and we love the bigger groups.
If you find that you're on that, just to go back to that question, just to give you a more direct answer, like she said, she's on the individual, I'm on the individual. Then we have one that's together, and the one that's together, when we go deeper into what our individual ones, and we come together with it, it's very, very, very powerful and magical. And I'm just glad we found a way to do it. We couldn't do that through the mind noise we had without the individual parts first. Lifelong, life is always long. No, it's not. It's infinite. I can't because he doesn't talk to me. You're not in contact because he refused to talk.
He refuses to talk because
He's not wanting to tell you what you want to hear.
yeah, there it is.
He doesn't know what that is, so
I don't know
he's
how you
going to
heard that in
struggle.
my head, but you did.
I did.
You really did. So
That isn't
so
me.
before my twin and I went into no contact from, my eyes are bad. You're gonna have to.
Yes. So before my twin and I went into no contact from his end, we stopped contact because I flipped out. I apologized. It had been 2 years of zero sex for me. My body was seriously asking for it. Before I flipped out, I told him about my sexual need and that if he didn't communicate with me about us coming together, that I would take that as him being okay with me finding a sexual friend.
Dun, dun, dun.
He did contact me and we were going to see each other after years. He stood me up 3 times in 3 months, then pops up and asks me if I was down for a threesome. You got this one?
No, I'm not going to touch it.
Okay. So let me make sure I got this right. You were telling him you're connected to him and you said, hey, I'm really in the need. I want to get somebody else. If I'm, I need to find somebody I can fulfill these needs with. And he's thinking, well, why can't, I'm sure there had to have been 1,000 things that went through his mind just hearing that, or 1,000 things that was going on at this point. So how did you actually say, because it was almost like, I want this and I want that, but I'm okay if I have to go over here to get it. So being as open as you were to communicate with that, it kind of told him that you were okay inviting somebody else into your connection. So I don't know really if you could point at him and say, well, he wanted a threesome, whereas you were talking about being connected to him and finding somebody else. Sometimes some wounds have to show up differently for you to see what wound was actually created. And sometimes those wounds really kind of point you back to yourself. Not to say anybody's at fault, but if you really look at what the internal dialogue was, do you even know what his was when he found out that that's what you were going to do? Is that, did I say that?
Yeah, and
human enough?
Sort of. I just want to touch on union is different than relationship by far. By far, it's way different. Even when it comes to sexuality, intimacy is different in union than in relationship. Much different. If there's an issue, if there's a problem where one person or the other is restraining from sexual activity or needs to for medical any kind of reason, emotional, due from abuse or anything like that. In union, the other one really the talk about being with another one isn't there.
Right.
And that's just my opinion. Lee and I have a monogamous relationship, so it's we would never invite another partner in. That would be extremely hurtful. However, there are people who are open to that and open-minded. And we're not judgmental in any way, shape, or form. Believe me, we have polygamous clients and monogamous clients, and but it just union's a little bit different.
Very much.
Should you be in some type of accident and you were paralyzed from the waist down, that wouldn't change our connection and it wouldn't change my love for you. I mean, there are other options and things that you can do together, even as a couple. I mean, your hands aren't paralyzed. Neither is your mouth. But anyway, so anyway, there's things that can be done. We all know this. We're all adults.
I know. I'm sorry. I was.
Okay.
Okay. So.
Oh, we're in Cincinnati. I'm
Oh,
currently
okay.
visiting my twin right now in Cincinnati. He is having serious problems with his inner child. I'm feeling very zenned out throughout this. He loves me but hates himself. We are in Cincinnati. Where are you guys at in Cincinnati? How close? I mean,
Clifton. Oh, yeah, down
Whoa.
next to UC.
Not far.
University of Cincinnati. We're probably 30 minutes from.
Not bad.
No,
20,
not bad.
maybe 20.
20, 25, 20, 30, depending on traffic.
Yeah. Fine.
So,
north a little bit. Right behind Kings Island. Literally right behind Kings Island. It'd be interesting to talk to him. And he loves me, but he hates himself, then he can't love you. And that's brutal. And I shouldn't have said it like that, but he in his own way, of course, he does love you, but it's really hard to love someone else when you can't love yourself.
Can I ask a question?
And root camp would change his life.
Can I ask? This is a question so they can hear it. They can actually see this real time. When I heal a part of myself, and if I look at you and say, you need to go heal yourself now, is there a reflection there that actually says this is something still in me, but not in you? In other words, here's a different way to put it. So if I said, here's what I found when I went inside and I looked inside and here's what I saw, and I share that with you, versus keeping it inside saying, I healed this, I fixed this, and I'm watching you and I'm going, you're not ready. And it's almost like I'm pointing it and saying, there's no way you're going to get it because I'm not telling you how to heal it. But since we're so connected, when I heal something and connect something inside myself and I share it with you, does that help you? Does that help you in healing?
Yeah.
And that in that communication, does that bring us closer together or pull us apart?
It definitely brings us closer together.
Okay. So when we want the other person to heal, but we don't talk to them, or we tell ourselves that they're still asleep or whatever, if we're not talking to them, what are the chances of them getting what we're even going through and what we're experiencing? Is it slow? Wait a minute. That's why you guys called me slow learner.
You guys, who else called you a slow learner? Never mind.
That makes sense now. I didn't get what you meant. I get it now because you were telling me, but I wasn't getting it.
Oh, she said she did do root camp, and now I know who that is. Ta-da!
Ta-da!
So how long are you going to be in Cincinnati? We're going to be down closer in Cincinnati tomorrow night at the hockey rink in Sharonville. Yeah. Be nice for you to stop by and say hi.
You want to see Lee and Cherry?
We'll sit down with him for 5, 10, 15 minutes, half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get him to love himself real fast. Real fast.
So that's awesome. We're going to be in Pittsburgh this weekend.
We're coming this weekend.
You'll be out
there. Harmarville. Yeah. And we're doing a meet and greet at 2 p.m. on Saturday, the 17th of March. The 10th of March. I didn't mean the 17th. I meant the 10th of March. That is this Saturday at 2 p.m. in Harmarville. And I don't remember the hotel we're staying at, but if you just email us at info@relationshipreinvented.com, we have a list of people that are coming. We'll put you on the list.
Yes.
It's free. We're not charging anything. Nope. Just come and talk to us.
Just come and
meet and greet, question and answers.
Wake you up.
And, here, I'm going to throw this out. We just put this mini root camp special out there. We're going to do 3 we might take 4, but it
anybody
depends.
who really wants to see some real root work in connection, we're right here.
If you want to get in on this special, you want to get in on our schedule, it's just us and you.
We're your truth.
Yeah. And your truth.
Yep.
Get in on this.
Absolutely.
ASAP. Yeah, and hurry because they'll go quick.
Ooh, I'd love to come to Dallas. And yes, we're going to be in Chicago. Yes,
we're
going to be in
Arizona.
Chicago.
We definitely coming to Arizona.
I'd love to go to Dallas though.
Fort Worth.
And Houston. Houston's been really big too. So yes, and Clifton, if you want to reach out to us, like I said, tomorrow we'll be down like 15 minutes from where you'll be. Yeah. So if it's something that we can do.
We can sit and talk to you while Cameron's.
We love all of you guys. Thank you for spending some time with us.
We've got to get over to our group who are waiting
if you want
with
to come over
breath.
and if we didn't get to your questions join us over there. We'll be there.
We're screenshotting.
And don't forget, you can still go to relationshipreinvented.com and also subscribe.
And by the way, we're doing a full coaching special too. If you're not interested in root camp, you want some coaching with me and Lee, any type of coaching, we're gonna take 10% off of our pricing specials. We're even going to take it off of an individual session. So, hey, if you want to get in on that, we're only doing this through tomorrow night.
Yes.
Through tomorrow night, you can do the mini root camp, and we'll get you on the schedule for 3 weeks, and then coaching special. And we're also doing, if you're interested in becoming a relationship reinvented coach, and when I say coach, I mean life coach, relationship coach, spiritual coach. Life coach includes anything and everything you can possibly dream of, yes. Right? Even the twin flame dynamic. We've got twin flame coaches. Email us for a private special that we have going on for the program.
Absolutely.
Email us at connect
at
relationshipreinvented.com. Connect at relationshipreinvented.com. Why don't you type it in there?
Yeah, okay.
And email us in the subject lines. Put special on for any of these things. Special 3 root camp, mini root camp with Lee and Cherry. That's with me and him for $500, or a coaching package. Take 10% off of any of our packages, and you'll have to email us for the coaching special because it's a little bit private.
Yes.
And he put the email down there.
Yeah,
we love you all. Come to our group, Twin Flame Work Group at Front by Relationship Reinvented on Facebook.
And yes, we did talk about a webinar that will happen. There's 2 that will happen this month.
Yep.
For the March into Union. The first one I believe is open. The next one, we're going to see where we're at with that, because I don't think we've got the details yet. But we're working on that. But look for
Valentine's Day winner. So you should have already been scheduled. So you email us right now. We're going to get you on the schedule for next week.
Absolutely.
Yeah, should have been scheduled, or at least in contact with us. We love you all. We do. Yes, you can just go to the website. If you want to go to the website, if you want to book the root camp and overnight, whatever, book it. As soon as we get back in office, we are going to email and say, look, let's get you on the schedule. We'll get you on the schedule starting next week. Okay. We're not going to be doing root camp personally very long. We are going to be traveling and touring and coming to you. So if you want root camp personally with me and Lee, now is the time to get your mini root camp or full root camp, whatever you want to do. Coaching special 10% off through tomorrow night, and coaching certification special.
And thank you for all of the feedback on asking Sherry and I to write the book. Or we don't really want to write a book, but we want to.
We got a book halfway written
that points you inside of yourself. It's not anything that points you to what the connection is doing. It's pointing to what your connection to yourself is doing. Don't worry, it's happening. We love you all.
Twin Flame Work Group. We're on our way.
Bye.